For many people, the dream of owning a home has become out of reach. The national average home price has increased to $348,000 according to Zillow, while the average home price in Raleigh is $323,000. Most people who still want the dream of home ownership have started to look elsewhere without living near a toxic waste dump or in a damaged or even dangerous city. So today, we do look at cities that have home under the price point of $350,000. Of course, these won't be homes in the heart of Raleigh, but if you're looking to be nearby Raleigh, let's just say give or take less than an hour and a half. I have some areas on this list you may want to keep your eyes on. But let's just say you're more interested in hearing about the places that are, let's just say, 30 minutes or so from Raleigh. You are definitely going to want to hear the last three that I have to share. Now, if you're new to me and this YouTube channel, we talk about everything you need to know about Raleigh, North Carolina. So make sure to subscribe and hit the bell so you don't miss out. But also, I am a licensed realtor here in North Carolina. So if you do have any questions or need help with your relocation needs, just reach out. To kick things off, the first city we'll talk about that has home under the $350,000 price point is Rocky Mount. Now, this is an area that does sit about an hour away from Raleigh, so please keep that in mind. And also, it's going to give you a little bit of an older feel to say. But something I will add on to that is the fact that there are new construction developments and communities going in those areas. So yes, it may have an older feel, but of course they are still trying to revamp and of course bring some sort of, I guess, light to the situation. I've actually sold a couple of new construction communities out there myself. So, I personally only go out there when I need to sell a home or something of that nature. It's not somewhere or a place that I go to just for the sake of saying I need to go to Rocky Mount to just go and do something or hang out. Just not my cup of tea. Now we have Fayetteville, North Carolina, and this area is sitting with about an average price point of $215,000. And this is another area that is about an hour away, but instead of when you're looking at the map, Rocky Mount is more of looking at it east, whereas Fayetteville is more south. But both still an hour away, and both are still going to give you entirely different feels. Because Fayetteville is an area that is a military town, so that's majority what you're going to kind of not experience, I would say, for the most part, but that's what it's going to be. From what I know most people that live in this area, they actually are gravitating at the current moment to go towards Raleigh. For several different reasons. I mean, one of them that I can mention from personal experience is the fact that it's just limited in terms of entertainment and nightlife, things that you can do. But I personally will say, just based off of the past couple of weeks and things that has been going on in North Carolina specifically, I will say I don't think it's going to be like that forever, but there is pain right now in terms of things to do on a regular basis, whether it's during the day or even night. It doesn't really compare to Raleigh right now. But if you're not looking for a bigger city, then maybe Fayetteville is an option for you. The next two upcoming areas, I personally haven't had the chance and opportunity to visit just quite yet, but here is some information on it. And one of those areas is Greenville, North Carolina, which is sitting at about $255,000. And this is an area that as well is going to sit an hour out. In fact, this is more like an hour and a half out from Raleigh. This is a place also that's going to be considered, in my opinion, more of a college town because you have East Carolina University. That is pretty much the hometown that carries that city. And as for nightlife goes, I'm sure there's things to do as a college town. There has to be something. Now, if there isn't, then man, shame on Greenville for not really providing to the students there. But I haven't been to this area to give you too much information on it, but it is an area that I do want you guys to have on your radar. Of course, if this is an area that does, bring a little bit more attention to what your liking is. Another area is Greensboro, North Carolina, sitting at about $265,000. And this is another area that is going to sit about an hour plus from Raleigh, specifically more like an hour 15 that you can imagine. And the location of Greensboro is actually pretty unique because it does sit really close, not even close, but it does put you in between of Charlotte and Raleigh. And in fact, you are closer to the mountains as well. So if you're an individual that wants to be out and about going to the mountain, then you have more accessibility there. It shaves off a bit of your time from Raleigh, but not that much. And honestly, I can even say shame on me for not even trying to visit this area because I have ample amount of opportunities, ample amount of events I could have attended. I just haven't. I guess I was just being too lazy. Let's just call it what it is. But if you didn't know, Greensboro is home to North Carolina A&T. So, of course, you're going to have a college town, college feel, rural but urban at the same time, which is, I don't know exactly how that works because I don't know how close and how that experience is going to be, but it's one of those things that I did read. I do know a little bit about it, but not enough to be like, hey, this is exactly what it is. So something that you keep on your radar. Maybe you look into a little bit more to get more concrete information out. If you want to know a little bit more about the Greensboro, then just let me know in the comments below. It's like, hey, I need a video on the Greensboro. Maybe I can do a series on that. So I understand if some of these places are just not what you're really looking for because of the distance. But as we go through this video more and more, you'll find that we're going to get a little bit closer to Raleigh that still hit that price point of under $350,000. I said we're going to get closer to Raleigh, right? So one of those places is Benson, North Carolina, sitting at $280,000. This is definitely going to be a more smaller town feel. In fact, I personally love the location of Benson. Maybe not so much of what's going on in there, but because it's just not what I prefer. But I can deal with it if I needed to. But anyways, aside of that, I like the location simply because it puts you literally in between the Raleigh and Fayetteville. So let's just say, give or take, you like the amenities of Raleigh, but you have to be in Fayetteville because of work or whatever the case may be, family. This is a great place to put yourself because you're sitting about 30 minutes from Raleigh and at least 30 minutes from that Fayetteville. So you get kind of the mix of both worlds is kind of how I would look at it. Then we have Lillington, North Carolina, sitting at $285,000. And this one is a little bit further south. So you're looking at more of a 50-minute from that Raleigh aspect. So something I will share in Lillington, you may experience a little bit more of a rural feel, a rural lifestyle. This is a place personally I drive through for the most part. Don't spend too much time in it just because not much for me in there. For instance, when you think going to the south, a lot of people say a slower pace. Well, I think Lillington does that exactly. It's kind of more of a slow, laid back, chill. And you guys know me by now. You know that's not what I'm looking for. But if that's what you're looking for, that is perfectly fine. Let's just say you want to be a little bit closer to Raleigh though. Here's an area that you may keep on your radar, which is Sanford, North Carolina, sitting at a $317,000 in terms of price point. Now, the distance between Sanford and Raleigh is more about 40 minutes or so, so not that far of a difference between Lillington, which is sitting at about 50. However, this is an area that is going to feed off of Raleigh a little bit more because of how close it is. So when we think about, growth opportunities, a growing job market, transportation options to get in and out of Raleigh or even in and out of the state while remaining a small town feel, well, that's Sanford for you. At this point, if any of these areas that I've mentioned sound appealing to you and you need more additional information, well, you see that number that is popping up right there. Make sure to give me a call, shoot me a text, email, day or night, heck, maybe even on the weekends, and just reach out to me and let me know which area you're interested in, why is it that you're interested in, what is it that you're looking to do, so we can go ahead and schedule a Zoom call and sit down and have a consultation, in fact, to understand how can we get you from point A to point B so that you can start living that goal, that dream that you're looking to live. As I mentioned earlier, as we get through this video more and more, we will get closer and closer to Raleigh. So now it's just about that time to hear about the 3 places that are just about 30 minutes in Raleigh, still sitting at that $350,000 price point. The first one that I'll talk about is Zebulon, North Carolina, sitting at $327,000. Zebulon is about 25 minutes from Raleigh, so it still makes it very commutable if you need to be in Raleigh, RTP, Wake Forest, Durham, whatever the case may be. It still makes it really, really manageable. But one thing I'll share is expect a lot of ongoing growth. This is an area that has a ton of new construction. So if new construction is what you're looking for, but you don't want to be in Raleigh, you want to kind of be on the outskirts, Zebulon could be an opportunity for you. If you want a list of new construction communities out there, just reach out to me and let me know. But expect a lack of amenities and things to do for the time being. Of course, I can foresee those things increasing as Zebulon begins to increase and develop itself out. But at the current moment, you're going to rely on Raleigh more than anything. Moving on to the next one, Angier, sitting at about $332,000. This area is very similar to the one I mentioned previously, which was Benson, where, kind of still sits in between that Raleigh and that Fayetteville. So it kind of gives you that same feel. However, you'll still be closer to Raleigh than Fayetteville in this particular aspect. Still more of a small town feel that you can get from it. In fact, I think this is an area that is going to have a little bit more growth as well. Not in comparison to Benson, but just in general, because I recently went to hear the mayor speak about it, and I mean, a lot of growth is on the horizon. That is what he was saying. That's what he was preaching. I mean, everything was talking about growth and how to get more individuals there to be more inclined to want to move to Angier. So right now, as things are limited in terms of jobs, maybe even amenities, right now it's all about managing the growth so that they can continuously grow to be, as the mayor mentioned, the next Holly Springs. That right there is where they're trying to go. So if you know what Holly Springs looks like, you know what Holly Springs has going for itself, well, now you kind of have an idea of where Angier may go. And then we have the last but not least. This area is Clayton, North Carolina, sitting at 337,000. I feel like I've talked about Clayton before. Clayton should be in many other of my videos. But if you're hearing it here for the very first time, Clayton's one of those areas that, in my personal opinion, is going to receive the most amount of growth out of every area we talked about today. Because you are sitting about 30 minutes from Raleigh, and honestly, it's losing the small town feel. I can honestly see more and more people just traveling to this area just because, again, some people just may not want to be in Raleigh anymore. So Clayton is just one of those areas that still does pop out and still provides you with maybe the basic needs that you may need. But as I mentioned, growth. You're going to go through some growing pains, managing the growth, trying to navigate through it all, because that is an area that is going to see it and is currently seeing a lot of growth and attention when it comes to growing it out to be a place where everyone wants to be. And if you stay to this point, I'm going to list some other areas that you can keep on your radar. However, these places won't be nearly as close to Raleigh as any of these other places I've already mentioned in this video. So do keep that in mind. But the first one is Winston-Salem, which is sitting at about 280,000. Then we have High Point, North Carolina, which is at 254,000. And then Jacksonville, North Carolina, that's closer to the coast, more towards, just again, close to the coast, is sitting at about 210,000. And then Gastonia, North Carolina as well, which is at about 280,000. So those are some other areas that you can keep as well on your list in comparison to all the other areas I've already mentioned today. But if you want to see a series about what areas are the least expensive in Raleigh, let me know in the comments below if you want that or not. But just as much as I enjoy making these videos for you guys, my name is Roney Polynice and I am a licensed realtor here and would love nothing more but the opportunity to be able to assist you with your relocation needs. So you see that number that is popping up right there? Make sure to give me a call, shoot me a text, email, day or night, heck, maybe even on the weekends. Always remember one thing. I got your back in this market.